Minecon 2019 is just around the corner, and I could not be any more excited about it, especially since Mojang has officially announced another biome vote, where we can decide to update swamps, mountains, or mesa biomes. That being said, my name is System Z, and today we're taking a look at 5 features that I think should be added if swamps were to win the vote. Let's get started. If you enjoyed the video and want to support my channel and help me make videos in the future, consider becoming a member, where you'll be invited to my Minecraft and Discord servers, as well as have a chance to help me with new videos through exclusive community posts. Click the join button below for more information, and also thank you to those of you who have become a member since my last video. How is it going, everybody, and welcome back to another video showcasing different ideas that should be in Minecraft. Today we're going to take a look at the swamp biome, because as you may know, Minecon is just around the corner, and that means that we get to vote on biomes that could be updated. Now, swamps were confirmed to be one of the 3, so let's go ahead and take a look at the potential updates that we could see for swamps. And the first and foremost thing to look at is a new mob, and that is none other. Oh yeah, and I bet you're wondering, the alligator. You probably knew from the thumbnail, but an alligator would be an amazing addition to the game. Now, I'm in survival mode, so we're probably gonna die, but that's okay. You know, we gotta give the example here. But alligators would be absolutely terrifying creatures, and he's already going for me. And as you can see, they pack a punch. They are very, very scary. As they should be, though. Alligators are definitely territorial. If you come up to them, they are really gonna want you to get out of their space. So alligators would be great because we currently don't really... Oh, he's coming for me. Oh my goodness, this is terrifying. Please get away. Alright, so I think you can kind of get the point. Alligators are pretty scary. They add a sense of danger and excitement to the swamp biomes. If you manage to kill them, you probably ought to have some tools with you. I didn't come prepared, but they will drop leather. That's all I was trying to say. So that is the first example of what we could see added to the swamp biomes if it were selected in the mob vote. Like I said, they're very territorial. Oh, geez. And they don't stop. Once they start, well, okay, we got lucky that time. Next up, we've got a new idea that doesn't necessarily feature one block or a mob, but instead the entire generation of the swamp biome. As it currently stands, swamp biomes are pretty boring. So I think in the next update, it would be really, really cool if we got a full-on overhaul to the generation of the swamp biome. And that's why I've basically created this captured plot of land to kind of give you an example of exactly how cool the swamp biome could be. So the first thing you'll notice is that there's really, really tall trees. I mean, this almost reminds me of the movie Avatar. These trees are really cool, and that's why I think it's kind of the most important thing that could be changed if it were overhauled. Now, I like to call these swamp oak trees. We currently have trees that are basically just generic oak trees in a swamp biome. So why don't we give it a new tree entirely? Now, this looks a lot like a jungle tree, but it's a little bit different. The color of the swamp biome alone would help differentiate it, but the wood is also different. Again, I will talk about that a little bit later in the video. There's also a couple of other things. I like to imagine soul sand or a new block similar to it spawning near them, and also mud blocks. Now in this case you can see the brown concrete powder, but I think it would be really cool if mud were introduced, as well as cattails and better lily pads that spawn with the lily of the valley on them. There are so many different ways to improve the swamp biome, but this is one of the main ways. The generation is very important, and something like this is extremely mysterious. So much so that it would make me want to explore swamp biomes more than I ever have in the past. Between new mobs, new blocks, and new generation, this is one way to make swamp biomes amazing. But let me know what you think of this down in the comments below. Anyways, without further ado, let's move on to the next. You know, there's nothing better than a mysterious button in front of you. I mean, just wanting to press this has me really excited. I mean, this is something really cool, and it's one of my favorite ways to improve the swamp biome, because, you know, I'm someone who's all about more mobs and more difficulty. I think Minecraft is really easy. It needs to be more difficult. And that's why I think it would be cool if there was a new mob added to the swamp biomes that was a little different than your typical animal. In fact, I like to believe it's an ogre of some sorts, or a golem if you're trying to fit it into normal Minecraft. But as you can see here, we have got the swamp golem, or swamp ogre if you prefer that. Now, this is a mob that I've been working on for a while. I've been playing around in Blockbench to create it, and as you can see, It is just the perfect creature. I mean, this golem is perfect for the swamp biomes. Here's a profile shot. You can see it's just got that ogre look to it. It's holding a mallet. It just walks up to you and bops you on the head with it. It's a very, very tough mob to fight. Now, this is kind of in early stages. I don't really have any special details about the reward for killing it or where it might generate. All I know is that it would spawn mainly in a swamp biome. Even as a mini-boss, it could very rarely spawn, maybe around a witch hut. If you kill a witch, there's a chance of having a swamp golem appear. I think this would be very fun. They're very mean creatures, and as you can see, they kind of have a resemblance to iron golems. So it kind of keeps up with that species of mobs. I think this would be super cool. I think a swamp golem would be really fun, just seeing these guys walk around. I like to imagine they'd be a little bit bigger as well. And if you kill them, maybe you get their mallet. I think that could be cool. They could also be holding the Wither Rose. There's so many different possibilities here with this mob, but it's an example of the imagination that I think we really need to have when talking about new mobs. Alligators are great, but something like this I feel like fits the allure of Minecraft a little bit more. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. And I don't really have much more than this, but I'll definitely be exploring this idea a little bit more in the future. But let's go ahead and check out the next idea. Alright, so we are going to quickly return back to this example of the generation, just so that we can really quickly talk a little bit more about the swamp oak tree. Now, obviously, a new tree type makes sense. Having the new generation is great, but that also means more blocks. Now, I've already talked about the mud blocks and cattails, but there's also the possibility of new planks that come along with a new tree type. And as you can see here, this is swamp oak wood. It looks a little bit similar to dark oak wood, but it is just a tiny bit different. And anytime we get new blocks, especially planks, I am happy. So let's take a moment to just go ahead and check out what all of these blocks look like. You can see I've kind of got a general amount of them here in this chest. If we go ahead and start placing them, they look a little bit dead or green. They've kind of just got a gray-green look to them, and it's definitely nothing we have currently. Now, I have a friend, Endergy. He's currently working on a mod about expanding the end, and this wood is very similar to something he's created. It was a willow tree, so I do want to give him credit on that, but this is heavily inspired on that. This is essentially swamp oak wood. This is the wood that you would find in a swamp. Now, I can't really imagine too many ways to build with it unless you're specifically building in this particular biome, but you're about to see a great example of how it could be used, so just keep that in mind going forward. But the thing is whenever we add new blocks to the game, it's okay if it can only be really used and kind of utilized in that particular biome. It just makes it more fun to build in special biomes. So if this was really mainly used for builds in swamps, that would be a-okay. But as you can see, it's a really cool looking block, and I could definitely see it being used for some sort of warehouse flooring, or, you know, if you want to use it in conjunction with stone, it would look pretty good. There are so many different ways to use it. And like I said, let's go ahead and check out the last idea where we kind of have an example of how I've used this wood. Last but certainly not least, there is one final way to improve the swamp biome dramatically, and that is, of course, to upgrade the witch hut. Because as it currently stands, the witch hut is pretty boring. I mean, it's basically just an uneven house on top of some stilts, all using basically the same block, and that is, of course, spruce. There's not even a way to get up to it, and half the time there's not even a witch around it. So I think we need to transform it. I think the witch hut needs to be a little bit more grand. It needs to be ominous and spooky. And it also needs to be guarded by pillagers, because I don't know if you've noticed, but whenever you battle pillagers in a pillager raid, witches are usually around to help. Now, as you can see here, these are kind of unfamiliar blocks, or at least most of them are. This is using the swamp oak block that I just talked about, and I think it looks amazing. It's very ominous, and it fits the feel of the swamp amazingly. Now, you can also see I've used netherrack here, but it makes sense. In order for potions to be made, you have to get netherwort and also brewing stands, and the only way they could do that is by going to the nether. So I like to believe that they've obtained the blocks to be able to build the witch hut. It just makes sense. Plus, it's a fun way to kind of add a sneak peek of what the nether has to offer by, you know, exploring the overworld. But as you can see here, it's basically the exact same style. We've got a stilted house, it's just broken up in different layers. We've got a way to access it via boat, as you can see here. We've got pillagers guarding the place, which is very, very spooky, very ominous, but also makes sense. We've got ladders to climb up to it, of course some general storage, and as you go into the house, you can see we've got a couple of things happening. We've got an amazing chest of loot, because that's something that doesn't really exist in the current witch huts. It just makes sense. If you're going to go take on a witch, which I also think they should be stronger, I think that it should definitely be worth it. Also, potions that you can place. I would love this in the game. It would be amazing, and it would be a fun decoration to find in the witch's house. And as you can see, here is the witch. We've also got a cauldron, we've got a little plant in the back, we've got a painting on the wall, so many cool different little features in this house that just really make it unique and fun. Now altogether, this change to the witch hut, as well as all of the other changes I mentioned, they would overhaul the swamp biome entirely. It would be a great way to improve the game, and I would love to see it. But let me know what you think. Are you going to vote on the swamp, or are you going to vote on the mountains, or the mesa, aka the badland biomes? I plan on doing more videos on those in the future, so make sure to subscribe. But anyways, that's going to be it for today. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and turning on notifications to be alerted whenever I next upload a video. And without further ado, that's going to be it for today. My name has been System Z. You guys have been awesome, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.